Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about the MDG Apton R7 2700 desktop that I picked up from MDG.ca. They also have a US location as well, so you can order from them. Best viewing I can give you, so if I have my back turned to you, sorry, got to tell you what's going on, right? So anyways, when I bought this thing a couple weeks ago, well, it's not quite a couple of weeks yet. It was $16.49. It's now $14.99. Club subscriber price. Regular non-subscriber to the club, you're going to pay $2,000 for this system. Now, all you're going to get is, of course, your keyboard, your mouse, which is gamer stuff. You're going to get a 27-inch LG display, and you're going to get the tower loaded with what the specs are. Okay. So let's go over some of the basics first. So we have a AMD A320 chipset motherboard. It's actually an MSI A320M Pro Max board. Okay. The link will be in the video description below for the motherboard manual, as well as the link to their website. At least for the Canadian site, you can just switch it up top for US. Anyways, and you can take a look at this system or other systems that they have to offer and see if there's something there that meets your requirements. Okay. As far as desktops go, this is the only gamer type system they're offering right now. They change things from time to time on their site, you know. So anyways, we have the AMD Ryzen 7 2700 processor, which is a 8-core or octa-core processor with a base speed of 3.2 gigahertz and 4.1 gigahertz max boost clock speed. We have a level 3 cache at 16 megs, a level 2 at 4 megs, a level 1 at 768K. Hard drives that are included. Right now, we have a Kingston 120 gig solid state drive, as well as a 1 terabyte Western Digital 7200 RPM mechanical hard drive. For a graphics card, we have the Radeon RX 570 4 gig card with GDDR5 memory. We have 16 gigs of onboard motherboard memory, DDR4, expandable to 32 gigs max on this board. We have an LG 27-inch widescreen IPS LED Full HD screen at 1920 by 1080 max res at 75 Hz. Thermaltake eSports Commander LED illuminated gaming keyboard and mouse, and a Thermaltake Versa H15M ATX gaming chassis with a 500 watt power supply. And of course, you do get Windows 10. You will also get backups of the driver CD, as well as Windows 10 and some other literature with the thing as well. Now, that's the base specs. Let's get into the actual motherboard a little bit here. Now, on the back, you will have 4 3.2 Gen 1 USB Type A's. You will have 2 USB 2.0 Type A's. Up front, you will have one of each on the top of the case, on this particular style of case. So you will have, though, a total accessibility to 6 USB 3.2 Gen 1 super speed ports, as well as 6 USB 2.0 high-speed USB ports. Okay. Now, of course, they've only given us a total of 3 of the 2.0 accessible and a grand total of 5 of the 3.2s accessible. So how we're going to access the other ones, I don't know. There's no little cutouts in the case. Up top, you will have rerouted speaker or headphone jack and a microphone plug up front, as well as 3 audio connectors on the back. This also has 7.1 audio as well. There is temperature detection, fan speed detection, system fan speed control to control the speed of your fans. It has a 256 megabyte flash UEFI AMI BIOS, as well as the ACPI 6.1 SM BIOS 2.8. As far as storage goes, okay, we are running, in this case, the A320 series, but even if it was a B450 series chipset, here's what we get. We get 4 times SATA 6 gigabyte per second ports. Supports RAID 0, 1, and 10. One M.2 slot M-keyed port on the motherboard, which I have filled already with a half a terabyte GameX XPG drive, okay, or M.2 NVMe drive. Supports PCI 3.0 times 4 and SATA 6 gigabit per second or gigabyte per second. First, second, and third gen AMD Ryzen with Radeon Vega graphics. Second gen AMD Ryzen with Radeon graphics. Supports PCI 3.0 times 2 and SATA 6 gigabit per second. AMD Athlon with Radeon Vega graphics. A series Athlon times 4. Supports 2242, 2280, 22110 storage devices. The Realtek is ALC 892 codec for the 7.1 channel high definition audio. And of course gigabit LAN controller, so if you're going to go on the internet, being a gamer, most gamers want to go with Ethernet as opposed to wireless, but there are wireless systems out now that you can get that are more than adequate for gamers with no lag. Just costs you money, right? Anyways, and the list goes on and on. There is a lot of features to this thing. You really want to study the manual if you want to know everything about the actual motherboard itself, okay? Now, in the whole, it's a great system. I really like it. I do have a couple of gripes though. The LG screen that they show in the picture is not what I received. Okay, now it's still the exact same monitor, spec for spec, except the difference is an oval base, which who cares? The square is more stable. But you'll notice on the front panel here is where all your controls are, on the one they show in the picture. On the screen that I received, of course, it's one button underneath. It's a multi-toggle system, and it's a real headache to learn that button and which way to flick it for which feature and everything for setting up all your monitor specs, because it's quite the involved menu. So I'm guessing they probably just ran out of this version, subbed it out with this one, which is actually the same anyways, spec for spec. Because I did go to LG's website and compare the two of them, and spec for spec they're exactly the same, just the way the panel access works for your menus, so who cares. There's a speaker slash headphone jack on the back of the screen. How exactly that's going to work, I have no idea. I've not even attempted it, but it probably does something through the HDMI, because HDMI can handle audio tracking and video, so it could be that it can go through that way. The manual doesn't get into that really at all. They just say, here, it's there. Okay, well that really helps. So there's a gripe about the manual for the monitor right there. Does have a D-sub connector for video or HDMI. You will get with this system an HDMI hookup cable for the monitor. The motherboard has onboard video as well, which is HDMI or DVI. Now, it's shared 2 gigs of memory, but because this is a gamer setup board, they've of course disabled the onboard, which also frees up that 2 gigs of memory back to the computer. And of course we're using a separate video card. Now, the one thing I really don't also appreciate about the computer, which is a bit of a gripe, is there is a PCI slot in this computer that is not accessible to me, because when they made the video card, the processor fan, or heatsink fan we'll call it, for the video card is facing towards the bottom of the case instead of to the top of the case, where I would think it should be, okay? Because it's covering that port on me, so I cannot access that port. There is no way to do it unless I change to a different video card that's built the proper way, directional wise, right? So that's a bit of a gripe there. Now, it's not a make it or break it for me, because I was just going to use that port for a PCI wireless card, and you know what? I just ended up using the 3.2 port on the back and got a 1200 megabit per second wireless USB adapter, and I'm fine. I got my wireless, it works, I don't care. So in the end, it's all good. But if you actually did need that port, you're kind of screwed. That's just the way it happens to go, though. So, the 120 gig hard drive is a little on the small side, even for a gamer computer, even for somebody who's not a real serious gamer. It's still going to be a problematic thing, which is going to require an immediate update. Now, I have already put in an NVMe 512 drive into the NVMe slot on the board. So I've got a half a terabyte there. I've wiped the 120 gig clean. And of course, I still have the terabyte mechanical drive in here for now. Eventually, that terabyte drive is coming out and will get replaced with an SSD drive of some size. I just got to figure out what my storage needs are going to be in the end, but I am starting to suck up a little bit of space because I've been going download happy on our 3G accessible network on our tablets. Our internet out here is kind of funny. We have a rocket hub that's on data. We live out in the country. We're not even in line of sight to the tower, and we're in a valley. So we're getting about 300 megabits per second at the top speed, which is fine. It's plenty fast, man. I mean, this thing can rocket really good. I would like more speed, though, but unfortunately I have to live closer to the tower for that because it's cell data, right? But we only have about 100 gigs a month that we can actually afford. If we go over our 100 gig cap, it costs us huge amounts of money. It's already costing huge money as it is to run it per month. It's ridiculous. But it's either that or satellite, and satellite is like slower than a 56K modem. Like, you guys all know what that was like. If you were, my age, you know what 56K modems were like. That's kind of what satellite's like out here. So it's pretty sluggy. But at least they did go unlimited data finally. Woo! Now, if Rogers went unlimited data, I'd be playing online games. I'd be going real download happy. However, what Rogers does for us with our iOS devices, like our iPads and our iPhones, is we have a shared plan with 20 gigs of LTE speed, which is still not running top speed LTE because of the tower thing. Okay, but we did notice that when we go in town, to the main part of town, which is like 5 clicks closer to that tower, our speed's like quadruple, which is awesome. But after we use that 20 gigs, then we're on 3G. And 3G, by the way, is kind of like just a little bit faster than dial-up. Actually, it's a lot faster technically, but downloading is not bad. I downloaded 8 games, which was a little over 7 gigs worth of games yesterday. It did take me all flippin' day to do it. Literally, it took over 12 hours to get those games down, but at least I got them down on the 3G side. So I'm definitely not going to be doing online multiplayer games with this computer, even though it can more than handle it. I'm trying to go after games that I can play single player, right? And that's fine for me. I don't care. As long as I get to play my video games that I like, I'm happy. And I'm all good to go there. So overall, though, since upgrading my drive, that made a difference. The 120 gig is actually useless. I don't know why, but many companies, when we're buying computers that they pre-build and don't allow us to say, well, I want a half a terabyte of this or a terabyte of that, in this case, we're getting stuck with small SSD drives. Non-gamers, fine. A 120 gig, fill your boots for a long time. Because you're just doing surfing, email, and maybe some light duty stuff. Maybe you're playing Tetris, right? That's fine for a 120 gig drive. But when you're selling a gamer computer, we need at least a maximum of a 1 terabyte drive to start with that's an SSD. And then maybe another secondary tera drive for just storage. Who cares if it's mechanical or SSD? It's just for storage. Although I'm still ripping mine out anyways because I don't like mechanical drives. I've noticed that since I took the mechanical drive out of my iMac and went with an SSD, not only is my computer running like mega times faster, it's also running mega times cooler as well. And that is a huge thing. Mechanical drives do actually cause a lot more heat than what some people think. Okay? And that's just the way it is. And not to mention, they chew up a lot of excessive power from your power supply. Now this comes with a 500 watt power supply, which is great. It's a great starting power supply, and I can put a few more devices in before I have to worry. but I got to get that mechanical drive out of there too, because it's chewing up almost 2 amps of power as normal run power, and it's chewing up more than that just for the fire up circuit to spin the drive up to that speed. And as the mechanical drive gets older, right, it's wearing out, it's chewing up more and more amperage. Voltage will always be a constant drain, and mechanical drives chew up 17 volts. SSDs and NVMEs, 5 volts. So amperage wise, they have some similarities, but there ain't no moving parts in an SSD. So that's a big, huge bonus there. So end result here, am I happy with my computer? Yes. Am I more happy with it now that I've solved some hard drive storage issues? Oh yeah. And man, that NVM thing, that is super fast compared to SSD, I'll tell you. I'm going to have a video coming up where we're going to do some real world transferring of files between mechanical and SSD and the NVMe, so you can actually see real world specs. Okay, like these programs they have out for speed checking and stuff, I mean, they're sort of accurate, but not really, you know. They give you a base idea, but not actual real world specifications. So we're going to do some real world testing. Anyways, so I put the computer at a 4 out of 5. It loses points because even though I knew it had a 120 gig drive, doesn't matter. It's still losing a little bit of points for that. Too small of a hard drive for a gamer computer. It is definitely losing points for not being perfect. Okay, because that again is another issue. It's not perfect. Nothing is perfect, so I can't give anything. So everything in the world has an automatic downer for not being perfect, but it's because things can't be, right? Because 5 stars means perfect. So it loses points for that, loses points on the drive side. I'm a little frustrated with the screen. I wish I would have gotten the one as shown in the picture, because it is frustrating to run that menu choice on the screen itself. Other than that, I would say I'm also a little miffed about the PCI slot that I have no access to. I think I'm more upset I can't access that PCI slot than I am about the hard drive and the monitor difference, you know, because that shouldn't happen. You know, the companies need to be building the video cards so that they would be compatible with whatever board they're going on, that they wouldn't cover up any other slots on those boards, you know. So that's the bad on the company that made the video card for this computer. They built it backwards, and so that's probably one of my biggest gripes, because I could still use that for other expansion devices, but now I can't unless I change my video card, and I'm not about to buy a new video card for that. But see, this is stuff I wouldn't have known about until I got it. I didn't know that I wouldn't be getting the display that was on the screen. I'm still okay with the display, don't get me wrong, it's just very frustrating to learn that button. So that's just a little bit of a point. My PCI slot being covered, that is really ticking me off. That should never happen, ever. I used to build custom systems at one time for many years. I've owned computer stores in the past, and we never built anything that would cause an issue with another device being able to go in. You know, I mean, it was just, they were built proper, right? This is kind of really stupid. So that's a big gripe on that one. I would chalk off more points for it, but I can only be so nasty, right? Because it is a really good performing system. I have not yet speed tested it against my Mac. Okay, now my Mac is a quad-core processor. It's also Intel, and it's actually running at 3.2 gigahertz i5 with a 3, I think it's either 3.5 or 3.8 on the top. I think the top is 3.8 on the Mac's overclock on it. Both have the same kind of RAM, except that I got DDR3 in the Mac versus DDR4 in this. So I'm going to do some testing, and then I'll do a video of a head-to-head against these two machines. It'd be kind of neat to see how close it is, because I've only got a 1 gig NVIDIA card too in the Mac, right? This is 4 gigs in this one. So that's automatically going to be like, yeah, it's going to probably win on the graphics side for stuff, but we'll see how things go, right? But yeah, that'll be a future video when I get the time and energy to do it. So 4 out of 5 is the bottom line. That's where I'm at. Is it worth the money either way for what we're getting as the package? Yes. Okay. So that's definitely there. It's a win-win. I would definitely recommend the system, but at least you're going to know. So check the link below in the video description, link to the website, link to the manual for the motherboard. Now, as far as the keyboard and mouse go, we haven't really touched much on that. So let's talk about that, and then we're out of here, because it's part of the whole system. It's a pretty decent little keyboard. It seems to be reasonably well built, you know, for what it is. I mean, it's not a high-end keyboard, but it is still reasonably well built, I'll give it that. It is wired keyboard and wired mouse, so no lag, right? And USB connections. The mouse, you've got 2 buttons here, you've got a button back here, you've got your, I believe it's, well, up and down scroll, and there's a side, right side, yeah, right side click only. So it's right side, up, down, button back here, 2 buttons here. So it's good for a basic gamer mouse, right? And it's not heavy, but it's not light. It's kind of, it's not bad, you know? I mean, it's not high-end by any means. I mean, come on, what are you going to get for $1,500, right? Still decent quality stuff, though, overall. These mechanical emulated keys are kind of neat and different. They clank like regular ones would. Still got that depth issue. I mean, you got to push down a ½ inch. It's a little different to get used to a keyboard like that when you're used to something slimline and narrow, and you know, barely have to touch it on this keyboard. You know, I tend to like these better, but it is a decent keyboard regardless, and we'll see how long it lasts in the long haul. You can change the illumination to 3 levels of brightness, which make very little difference, but there is a noticeable difference on the 3rd stage. Or you can just turn the lights right off on the keyboard. No control over the lights on the mouse, but hey, who cares? You know, it's a basic gamer keyboard, okay? It's basic. It's cool though. Looks nice. Other than that, that's all I got to say about the computer. You know, otherwise it seems to be pretty good. It's been performing great. Haven't had any issues with it so far, you know, so that's been pretty good. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do stay tuned for more videos, because like I said, we're going to do some speed testing in the real world with SSDs and NVMe and mechanical versus each other. And when I get around to it, I'll do some head-to-head against my late 2013 iMac, which is only 4 years old, even though it's been around since late 2013. And I'll do some head-to-heads to see where the comparisons are and see what does what better than the other type of thing. You know, some people have the attitude of, well, the PC's gonna win, come on, it's an octa-core. Doesn't mean it's gonna win, okay? But we'll see. I'm kind of curious myself, to be honest. Anyways, catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.